Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! Dominic wandered through the bustling yard sale on a sunny Saturday morning, his blonde hair catching the light as he sifted through piles of forgotten treasures. At 25 years old, he lived a quiet life in a small apartment, working as a graphic designer from home, surrounded by friends and family who were all well into adulthood, each over 18 and navigating their own paths. The sale was in his neighbor's driveway, a jumble of old lamps, dusty records, and stacks of books that smelled of aged paper and faint mildew. One particular tome caught his eye, an ancient-looking volume bound in faded leather, its cover embossed with swirling patterns that evoked images of enchanted forests and mythical creatures. He flipped it open, revealing pages filled with what seemed like fairy folklore, tales of sprites and spells woven into the fabric of everyday life. Curiosity piqued, Dominic purchased the book for a mere $1, tucking it under his arm as he headed back to his place. That evening, alone in his living room with a cup of tea steaming on the coffee table, he leafed through the pages, chuckling at the archaic language. One passage stood out, an incantation written in elegant script, promising transformation and self-discovery through the whims of fairy magic. As a joke, he read it aloud, his voice echoing softly in the empty room. By wing and whisper, let the hidden bloom, in moonlight's grace, reveal the true. He laughed it off, closed the book, and went to bed, dismissing it as nothing more than whimsical nonsense. The next morning, Dominic awoke with a strange, insistent urge pulsing through him, like an itch he couldn't ignore. It wasn't painful, but it was compelling, drawing him toward his closet where he kept a few forgotten items from past relationships. Among them, hidden in the back, was a simple pink blouse and a floral skirt, remnants from an ex-girlfriend who had left them behind years ago. His hands trembled slightly as he pulled them out, the fabric soft against his skin. Without fully understanding why, he slipped into the blouse, buttoning it over his chest, and then stepped into the skirt, letting it swish around his legs. The mirror reflected a version of himself that felt both foreign and oddly right, his blonde hair falling in soft waves that framed his face. From that moment, something shifted irrevocably. He couldn't bring himself to change back, the thought of returning to his old clothes filling him with an inexplicable dread. He spent the day like that, moving through his apartment in the feminine attire, feeling a sense of liberation he hadn't anticipated. As the hours passed, the urge deepened, evolving into a desire to explore further. Dominic ventured online, browsing websites for women's clothing, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and nervousness. He ordered a few pieces, a soft lavender top, a pair of slim jeans designed for a feminine fit, and a cozy cardigan, rationalizing it as an extension of the strange impulse from the book. When the packages arrived a few days later, he eagerly unpacked them, trying on each item in front of the mirror. The lavender top hugged his form gently, and the jeans accentuated a silhouette he was beginning to appreciate. He practiced walking in them, noticing how his posture adjusted naturally, shoulders relaxing into a softer stance. Still, he remained in these clothes, unable to contemplate switching back. It was as if the incantation had sealed this path, making any reversal impossible. Word of his changes didn't spread immediately, but Dominic's closest friend, Sarah, who was 28 and a fellow adult in their circle of mature acquaintances, noticed something different when she stopped by for coffee. She raised an eyebrow at his outfit but didn't press, simply commenting on how comfortable he looked. Encouraged by her nonchalance, Dominic confided in her about the book and the incantation, laughing it off as a silly coincidence. Yet deep down, he felt the pull strengthening, leading him to a local boutique where he purchased more items. A collection of blouses in pastel shades, skirts that flowed elegantly, and even a few dresses that made him feel graceful. Each acquisition built his wardrobe, filling his closet with feminine attire that he wore exclusively from then on, the male clothes pushed to the far corners and forgotten. It was during one of these shopping trips that the name Evelyn began to resonate in his mind, emerging like a whisper from the folklore in the book. She tried it out in the mirror, saying it aloud. Evelyn. It fit, like a key turning in a lock. As Evelyn, she delved deeper into this new identity, realizing that the so-called fairy spell wasn't magic at all, but a catalyst for her own repressed desires that had been buried for years. Memories surfaced. Childhood moments of curiosity about dresses and makeup, quickly suppressed in a world that expected conformity. Now, those desires broke free, flooding her with a sense of authenticity she had never known. She embraced it fully, committing to this path without looking back, her blonde hair a constant feature that she began to style with care, letting it grow longer to enhance her emerging femininity. Evelyn's transformation progressed gradually, starting with subtle changes in her mannerisms. She noticed how she crossed her legs differently, a gentle fold rather than a wide stance, and how her gestures became more fluid, hands moving with an expressive grace. At home, she practiced speaking in a softer tone, modulating her voice to match the inner self she was uncovering. Her apartment reflected this shift too. She rearranged furniture for a cozier feel, adding throw pillows in soft fabrics and vases of fresh flowers that brightened the space. Friends like Sarah, all adults over 18, started visiting more often, drawn to the positive energy Evelyn exuded. They shared stories of their own journeys, offering support without judgment, as Evelyn confided in them about her realizations. Growing out, her blonde hair became a deliberate part of the process. She visited a salon where the stylist, a kind woman in her 30s named Lisa, another adult in the community, suggested trims that encouraged length while maintaining health. Evelyn left with layers that framed her face beautifully, the blonde strands shining under the lights. Over weeks, she watched it lengthen, brushing it each night and experimenting with styles. Loose waves one day, a simple ponytail the next. It symbolized her commitment, a visible marker of the changes unfolding within. She paired it with her growing wardrobe, selecting outfits that felt right for each occasion, a light blouse for work calls, a skirt for evening walks. Never once did she consider reverting. The feminine presentation was now integral, a permanent choice that brought her peace. As months passed, Evelyn delved into research about gender identity, connecting with online communities of adults over 18 who shared similar experiences. She learned about hormone therapy, discussing it with a trusted doctor during a routine appointment. The physician, a compassionate professional in his 40s, explained the process thoroughly, ensuring she understood the steps. After careful consideration, Evelyn began the therapy, starting with low doses that promised gradual changes. She documented her feelings in a journal, noting the subtle shifts in her emotions and physical sensations, all while maintaining her feminine attire without fail. Her blonde hair continued to grow, now reaching her shoulders, and she styled it with clips and bands that added a touch of elegance. Daily life as Evelyn blossomed. She updated her work profile, informing colleagues, all mature adults, of her new name and pronouns, receiving warm responses that bolstered her confidence. Sarah helped her shop for accessories, picking out earrings that dangled delicately and scarves that complemented her outfits. One afternoon, they strolled through a park, Evelyn in a knee-length dress that swayed with her steps, her blonde hair tied back in a loose braid. They talked about dreams and futures, Sarah sharing her own career aspirations as a teacher, while Evelyn opened up about how freeing this journey felt. The fairy book sat on her shelf, a reminder of the spark, but she knew now it was her own strength that had ignited the change. Evelyn's mannerisms refined further. She found herself smiling more openly, her laughter lighter and more melodic. She enrolled in a dance class for adults, where participants over 18 learned graceful movements that enhanced her poise. The instructor, a vibrant woman named Maria in her 50s, praised Evelyn's natural rhythm, encouraging her to let go and flow with the music. In these sessions, dressed in comfortable leggings and a flowing top, always feminine, she connected with others, forming bonds that enriched her social circle. Her hormone therapy progressed, bringing softer skin and a sense of emotional balance that made each day brighter. To celebrate milestones, Evelyn hosted small gatherings at her apartment, inviting friends like Sarah and a few others from her network, all consenting adults well past 18. They shared meals and stories, toasting to personal growth. During one such evening, Evelyn wore a new blouse she'd bought, its fabric shimmering softly, paired with a skirt that made her feel empowered. Conversations flowed about life's transitions, reinforcing her resolve. Her blonde hair, now longer and fuller, was often complimented, and she took pride in caring for it, using gentle shampoos and conditioners that kept it vibrant. As Evelyn's confidence grew, she explored makeup subtly, starting with light applications that enhanced her features without overwhelming, a touch of mascara to define her lashes, a hint of lip gloss for shine. These became part of her routine, always in harmony with her feminine wardrobe. She never wavered from this presentation, finding joy in the consistency. Work projects took on new creativity. As a graphic designer, she infused designs with softer aesthetics, drawing inspiration from her own evolution. Clients, all professional adults, appreciated the fresh perspective, leading to more opportunities. One weekend, Evelyn decided to volunteer at a local community center, where adults over 18 gathered for various activities. Dressed in a casual sundress, her blonde hair cascading freely, she assisted with art workshops, helping others express themselves through colors and shapes. It was there she met Jordan, a 27-year-old artist who shared her passion for creativity. They bonded over shared interests, Jordan respecting Evelyn's journey without prying. Their conversations extended to coffee meetups, always in public spaces, fostering a friendship built on mutual understanding. Evelyn's hormone therapy continued to unfold, with regular check-ins ensuring her health. She noticed changes in her energy levels, a newfound calmness that permeated her days. Her wardrobe expanded to include seasonal pieces, light jackets for cooler weather, all feminine and fitting her style. She took long walks in the evenings, her skirts brushing against her legs, blonde hair swaying with the breeze, reflecting on how far she'd come from that yard sale discovery. Planning her coming out party became a focal point, a way to formally embrace her true identity among loved ones. She chose a venue, a cozy garden space rented for the occasion, and sent invitations to her circle of adult friends, all over 18. The theme was simple elegance, with decorations in soft blues and whites. Evelyn selected a flowy blue sundress for the event, its fabric light and airy, perfect for the warm afternoon. She spent days preparing, her blonde hair styled in soft curls that framed her face, practicing speeches in the mirror that conveyed her gratitude and joy. The day arrived, and guests filtered in, greeting Evelyn with hugs and smiles. Sarah arrived first, bearing a bouquet of flowers, followed by Jordan and others from her dance class and volunteer work. The garden buzzed with conversation, laughter filling the air as everyone mingled, sharing appetizers and drinks. Evelyn moved among them, her sundress swirling gracefully, feeling a profound sense of belonging. When the moment came, she stood before the group, her voice steady. Thank you all for being here. This journey started with a silly book and an incantation, but it led me to my true self. I'm Evelyn, and I'm so grateful for your support. Applause erupted, and toasts were made, the atmosphere warm and affirming. As the party continued, Evelyn chatted with each guest, hearing their own stories of change and growth. The sun dipped lower, casting a golden glow over the gathering, her blonde hair shining in the light. It was a pinnacle moment, yet as the evening wound down, a new figure approached from the edge of the garden, a stranger with an enigmatic smile, holding what looked like a companion volume to the old fairy book, whispering something about unfinished spells that made Evelyn's heart skip a beat, hinting at mysteries yet to unfold. Hope you enjoyed the story so far. The rest will be available on Patreon.